All right. Hey everyone, I'm at the Waffle House in Joplin, Missouri. We'll be traveling over to Boreas Freeze Drying here in Mount Vernon here in the next 30 minutes or so. But I know a lot of you are from the Midwest who follow this channel, and you're probably familiar with the Waffle House. But since I live in Boise, Idaho, they don't have the Waffle House, and so it's been kind of frustrating for me not being able to get the goodness that the Waffle House provides. And and so, if you're on this live this morning, thanks for joining. Uh, you can ask me any type of questions about freeze drying. I want to also open this up for an opportunity for you to ask questions that you might want me to ask Boreas Freeze Drying, because the company that I'm going to today is, and hopefully you can hear me, the company I'm going to go to today is all about freeze drying, and they have a commercial freeze drying operation. So they both do things themselves, and they also do things for other people. So I'm trying to just make sure I've got the chat open here. Hey everyone, if you're just joining, I'm at the Waffle House in Joplin, Missouri. Hopefully you can hear this. The dishwasher's running right below us. My buddy Levi is here. You want to say hi?
Morning, guys.
He's my videographer for these trips. Great videographer, and really helps me kind of capture everything that I want to capture, so I can kind of talk to all these different entrepreneurs. So, hey Paula. And if you don't mind just letting me know if you can hear me okay, because this dishwasher's running right below us, and I don't want to make sure that you can hear, but I'm assuming so. Awesome.
What's your favorite thing to get at the Waffle House?
Well, yeah, my favorite thing at the Waffle House is their sandwich melt. I got the bacon this time. Usually it's I usually get some type of waffle just because you're at the Waffle House. Where's mine? So if you're not familiar with the Waffle House, it's an old school diner type of thing, and they make it right in front of you. They have a very basic menu, but it's super delicious food with waffles and all types of good stuff. Hey, Sherman, Texas. Okay, do they have a Waffle House in Sherman, Texas? Hopefully they do. No? Oh. So I'm actually some background on me is my family actually is from Texas. We're from the Fort Worth, Dallas area, and my parents moved us up as kids to Idaho just to get away from the big city and get more in the mountains. So that's why we're here in Idaho. So anyway, so if you're just joining us live, I'm going to Boreas Freeze Drying this morning. I'm going to be talking with, there's two business partners that own this company, and they started it just very recently, and they have these large commercial freeze dryers that they operate both for people to freeze dry large amounts of food themselves. So you could actually ship up a bunch of candy, you could ship up your, high protein meal, you could freeze dry dog treats, pet food, all types of stuff. You can ship it up to them, and I'm going to find out exactly what toll freeze it's called. They're calling it in the industry toll freeze drying because you're paying a toll or a rental fee for someone to freeze dry something for you. And what that opens up the door for you to do in your business is, if you don't want to buy, 5 or 6 different freeze dryers yourself and have all that type of maintenance, things like that, but you still want to have that much product, then this type of company can help you do that. And so I'm going to find out exactly what this all looks like, because I'm hearing a lot about toll freeze drying, and that's what a lot of people are saying to do when you have these larger machines, is they want, and so they hopefully the background noise isn't too crazy here at the Waffle House. You can hear. If you want to let me know in the chat if it's too crazy of a background noise, that'd be great. Okay, awesome. The other thing is this company, Boreas Freeze Drying, that I'm going to be visiting in Mount Vernon, Missouri here today, right after I eat here at the Waffle House, is I'm going to be going they also freeze dry mushrooms, and that's the way they actually got connected here as a business. Is they wanted to freeze dry a lot of their mushrooms that they know in the industry, and so when they started freeze drying mushrooms, they understood that they needed to get a lot done in bulk, and so they bought these large commercial freeze dryers that can do 2,500 pounds. Now, these freeze dryers that you're going to see today, because I'm going to do a couple different shorts to show you, but I'll do some long form video too, is they can do upwards of 2,500 pounds of product. Now that seems like a lot, right? And it is, but let's just say you're trying to supply all of the Tractor Supply stores with, your own recipe of a pet food treat, or you're trying to supply somewhere with, some type of supplement, because you can powderize beets for the vitamins that you get from a beet. You can powderize the mushrooms and capsulize those things. And make your own supplement. Now, you're going to be regulated by the FDA and things, but think about how much product you would need to do to make sure that you're being efficient with your business, because the more business you do in volume, the less your profit margin is going to be, but you're going to have more volume, so you have to kind of play that game. Well, that's why these large freeze dryers exist. The company that they have these freeze dryers from is called TechSource Systems, and I visited that company down in Utah, in Ogden, Utah, just last year in October, and you can take a look at the video that I did on that company. I actually was there on site, so there's a couple videos. There's a kind of a tour of their facility, and then there's one that is just me talking with the CEO, Matt. And anyway, they told me to come out to this company because Boreas seems to be doing things right in terms of designing what their business plan looks like. So this is going to be really fun, and let me know in the comments right now if you're joining, maybe what type of questions you'd want to know about Boreas Freeze Drying. I'm going to be visiting a company that's huge. They got their own facility. They're getting multiple large commercial freeze dryers. They're freeze drying for a lot of large clients. They're not going to disclose who those clients are because they sign non-disclosures. But as you're watching this live, think about things that you'd want to know. Like, man, I see people doing these freeze drying companies, and I just have a home freeze dryer. What are things that you'd want to know that you'd like me to ask them? Because I'm hopeful that there'll be an open book today, and they'll be able to kind of answer those types of questions. And if you're just joining, I'm at the Waffle House in Joplin, Missouri. I've got my bacon melt. Eating. We're about 40 minutes or so away from Mount Vernon, Missouri, which we're going to be going to today for my Freeze Drying Entrepreneur series here on this channel. I'm focusing on entrepreneurs in freeze drying, and one of the companies we're going to go see is Boreas Freeze Drying. So, and if you're from Missouri, love to know where you're from here in this area. One of the places I've always wanted to visit now that I've got kids is Branson, Missouri, just because I see a lot of advertisements for all the fun stuff you can do there. Anybody been to Branson, Missouri?
Wait, favorite? Not Tom.
All right, we're at the Waffle House in Joplin, Missouri. If you're just joining this live, if you want to let me know in the comments, in the chat here, let me know any questions that you'd like to have me ask Boreas Freeze Drying. This company I'm visiting here today in about an hour or so. I'm going to meet them for the first time. The company has large commercial freeze dryers that they freeze dry product for other people, and they also freeze dry mushrooms. And so if you're someone that's been following this channel and you've been inspired to create your own business in freeze drying, and even if you just have one freeze dryer or you don't have one at all, but you've wanted to know more and you've watched my videos, let me know what types of questions you might want me to ask them. It can be anything from, what types of things they've freeze dried in the past, what mistakes they've made, maybe ideas that I can share with them. Hey Jared, anytime I do gummies, they overflow and touch the top. Yeah, that's probably due to the heat that you have with your gummies. And also just depends on the kind of the sugar density for certain types of gummies. It usually, when you're freeze drying, like gummy worms, things like that, those tend to expand a lot more because like the sugar density isn't as compact as other types of things. So like, for example, that's why I cut up all of my Jolly Ranchers or other types of candies in half or things, because I don't want them to get super big, because then they'll touch the tray shelf top. So when you're doing your gummies, you just want to probably try a lower temp. So usually I recommend about a 140 temp for most candies in a freeze dryer. You might want to try like 130, 135, and just see how that goes.
What was that? You guys made drinks.
Hey Prather, you said, I don't understand why we have to oven heat lemon heads or red hots before freeze drying. Yeah, we're actually going to talk about that. I'm going to be doing an interview with a guy, Gene Ligman. I would call him the freeze drying expert out here in this industry. And I'm going to ask him exactly why do we have to soften up certain types of candies before we freeze dry to get them to pop versus others? I think that's a great question. So I'll get that answer today. PXD Marketing, what do you think of the coffee? Oh, it's delicious. Best coffee in town.
You said coffee? Coffee, ice
Everyone's
water?
getting coffee here. PXD Marketing, where are you from? Oh, you have IHOP? Yeah, that's what we have in Idaho too. Hey, if you're just joining the live, we're at the Waffle House in Joplin, Missouri. Take a look. If you've never been to a Waffle House, it's a delicious place. Basic menu. Hello. Could I get some more coffee?
Yeah,
You're good.
I am a waffle and bacon actually.
Oh.
Hi. Hi, buddy.
Everyone's camera shy here, but I told them ahead of time that I was doing a live here. So you don't have to be camera shy. You could be on my YouTube live if you want.
Yeah, I was trying to show my waffle and bacon. Okay.
Think it's better than Starbucks? It's definitely better than the price I pay at Starbucks for coffee. The School of Crop. What's up? Cheers.
Wonderful talking to y'all. I'm going home.
TikTok live.
Can I go get this label real fast?
It's unfair.
Hey, if you're just joining, I'm at the Waffle House in Joplin, Missouri. I got on this live this morning. Just one, I wanted to have my staple bacon melt that I usually get at the Waffle House. And Waffle House isn't really something that is here in Boise, Idaho, where I'm from. So when I go and traveling, if they have a Waffle House, I'm there. And so it's about 6:45 right now this morning in Joplin, Missouri. We're going to be traveling, my friend Levi and I. He's my videographer for this trip. He helps me at these different locations that I go to help capture all the stuff that you eventually see when I get done with the final video. And we're going to go see Boreas Freeze Drying. So if you're just joining, the reason we're live is you can go in the chat right now and tell me, what you'd like me to ask different entrepreneurs who are doing freeze drying, because I'm visiting a fairly large freeze drying company today, and they also do something called toll freeze drying, where they rent out their commercial freeze dryers that can be thousands of pounds of product in one cycle. And so I'm going to find out a lot of stuff about, how do they go from like a harvest right machine to a commercial freeze drying machine. And also, like, what types of businesses are coming to them to freeze dry product? I know that they freeze dry themselves mushrooms, and so I'm going to talk to them about that. But let me know in the chat what you'd like me to ask them about entrepreneurism, like what are things that need to take place before you maybe venture into buying your own facility? How much money does it cost to start a large freeze drying company like this? Maybe what products would maybe inspire you to create? School of Crop, Waffle House, hell yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm here. PXC Marketing says, did that waitress say she had a waffle tattoo? Yes, she does. And apparently we found out at the Waffle House, they are required, or they're supposed to, place your fork and knife and all your utensils within 10 seconds of you sitting down. Found that out today. At the School of Crop, you're saying, ask them about freeze-dried products with Missouri's cottage food laws. Yeah, I can ask them about that. Hey, if you go to the Waffle House frequently, can you let me know what you get? What's like your go-to place if you go to the Waffle House?
That's mine.
Is it to go?
No.
Yeah, it's good to go. Order on the white plate, smothered in jam, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to go.
Now, Joplin, Missouri. Oh, school? Oh, you're in Missouri. What part? Also, why is your username the School of Crop? I'm curious. Hey everyone, if you're just joining, I'm at the Waffle House in Joplin, Missouri. And the reason I'm live right now is because in about, 20 minutes or so, we're going to get on the road and we're going to head to Mount Vernon, Missouri, which is close to here. And we're going to go to a company that is an entrepreneur in freeze drying. And they're fairly large, freeze drying their own products as well as renting out their freeze dryer machines to freeze dry for other people. So that's why we're here in Joplin, Missouri. It's where we stayed. I stayed in an Airbnb in this place. Didn't really know what to think of it, but I chose an Airbnb that was on the cheaper side, and it was cheaper than a hotel. But I definitely felt like I was in my grandmother's house staying there. But it was quaint. It was nice. Oh, hey, School of Crop. I teach people how to grow cannabis. Oh, thank you. No, I'm good. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, cannabis is a huge industry for freeze drying, and I need to know more about that because I'm going to try to learn more. But here on YouTube, kind of talking about cannabis and that type of the other word for it, it's kind of a difficult topic here on YouTube under their policies. So I don't do a lot of content on freeze drying cannabis, but it's a huge market, and even if you're not a proponent of the industry, I mean, it's very popular and it's very interesting in terms of why they use freeze drying for cannabis. So I'm going to be exploring that a little bit more. I might do it more so though. Not on YouTube. I might do it more on like a blog format, or I might do it more so on a different platform, so that I don't get hit with community guidelines, things like that. Unfortunately, that's what you got to deal with when you're a creator on a platform like YouTube. You have to kind of work within their rules. So, but freeze drying cannabis is a huge market for sure. Oh, hey, Jens. So you live in Sweden? Recently started a company specializing in freeze drying unique. Hey, welcome.
Isn't it so cool? It's the same since 1955.
What? Oh, the Waffle House? Oh yeah. How long has this one been here?
84.
Since '84? Wow.
I know. We remodeled 3 years ago. But we left. It shows a 3.
Wow. This server's been here since 2003.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Jens. So you're from Sweden. I'd love to visit Sweden. My parents have gone to Europe and gone to Sweden multiple times. But awesome, especially in freeze drying. Hey, if you don't mind, hit me up on email, or also you can message me even on my LinkedIn. I'd love to kind of know more about your company. Actually, the freeze drying community in Europe is actually growing quite a bit, and I'm connecting with a lot more people over there. And so I know that there's a lot of business happening right there in Europe. I think it's exploded here in America for sure over the past couple of years with freeze dried candy, but I know that this 2025, the freeze drying world is going to just blow up in other countries. If you're just joining, I'm live here at the Joplin, Missouri Waffle House, just getting some breakfast, talking about freeze drying, talking about you guys who are watching this. One of the things I'm trying to do more is just connect with you on YouTube Live, just so I can just get feedback directly from you. The reason I'm here in Joplin, Missouri is because I stayed here for a trip that I'm taking here in this morning to Mount Vernon, Missouri, where I'm going to be visiting a company called Boreas Freeze Drying. And so if you are curious about freeze drying, if you're curious about what people are doing with the freeze drying machine on a larger scale, today this is a big deal, because I'm visiting a company that has large commercial grade freeze dryers, but they started out with a small home freeze dryer, and they do things where they freeze dry their own product, but they also supplement the downtime in their freeze dryer with rinsing it out and freeze drying product for other people. So it's really cool. And that's why I'm here, and I love the Waffle House. Sun's coming up. All right, what's everybody's? If you do have a freeze drying business right now, how did what are you doing right now? Are you kind of retooling things? Are you putting together your plan for this year? Are you, anybody doing any events coming up in January, this month or next month? It usually is a slow time for events, but one of the things that I've looked at and I've never really done, but they have these kids expos in my local town, and kids love freeze-dried candy, freeze-dried anything. So, has anybody tried those types of events? If you have a business? Okay, you have one. Yeah. Levi, you want to say anything? You want to be on camera? My friend Levi, he's my videographer. He doesn't want to talk. No. A lot of small market types, yeah. Yeah, so one of the things I'm going to talk to Boreas Freeze Drying, who I'm visiting today, is I'm going to be talking to them a little bit about what they see in the future for freeze drying, because, you know, I don't know about you, but the election year, high inflation, 2024 was a weird year. It was just a weird year for freeze drying. My business, my sales dropped about 30 to 40%. Now I put a lot of that on me because I didn't really market my business very well. Kind of towards the latter end, I could have really pushed hard for the summer in events, and also for just overall my online presence. So I didn't do that. So I should have done that more. But yeah, how was your year last year? I think I'm pretty positive about this year. I think the freeze-dried candy industry, like a lot of people, it's a low entry point, right? Like you can buy a freeze dryer, just like I've talked about in my videos, and you could pay that $3,000 to $4,000 freeze dryer off easily in a year. All you need to do is just go to a couple markets and sell freeze-dried candy, and you can pay it off really quickly. But to create an actual sustainable business where you're enjoying what you do, you're building your own brand, you have something unique, or you represent something in the community that people attach themselves to, it does take a lot more work because more people are doing it, and that's okay. We know so much more now about freeze drying than for even 2 years ago. So the fact that people, I know people say that they were freeze drying years ago in candy, but really if you look at it, yes, people are experimenting, but it's not known, right? Like there's not videos about people doing different types of things freeze drying. And so knowing that you need to warm up the trays and get a high temperature for certain candies so they will pop. Like lemon heads were not something that I saw very much of in the beginning years of doing freeze drying. Like in 2020, 2021, everyone was trying like different candies, and they weren't working. So now we kind of know that, like, one, I think that's why Harvest Right and other types of machines have had a warming the trays type of mode. Thank you. They because they know that there's a lot of people that want to do different candies than just the standard, Skittles and things that just don't need to be warmed. So this year is going to be, I think, a lot better because we know a lot more about what we can do in freeze drying. American Craftware. Hey David, you have a freeze dried product business. How do you sell your product? How do you do your marketing? Yeah. So, yeah, the reason I'm live is I'm going to ask them that question, Boreas Freeze Drying. How do you, because this company that I'm visiting today in Mount Vernon, Missouri, they actually freeze dry mushrooms. So I'm going to ask them, one, how did you decide to freeze dry that product? And then also, how did you go about selling it so that you knew that you needed to keep doing it, right? Because you have to drum up some type of demand no matter what type of product you're selling. And how do you market your product? Yeah, all those questions I'm going to be asking today. And those are questions that I'll be answering this year too. All right, Prather, thanks for joining. Hey, Jens, you said, can you dry tobacco? I'm assuming that's the kind of the dry leaf, the tobacco like you'd have for a pipe or cigarettes, things like that. Well, not cigarettes, I guess. Yeah, there is tobacco. That's what I'm assuming. Well, I don't. That's a good question. I'm not sure if tobacco is something that you'd want to freeze dry. It's a good question because, there's certain methods of drying a product to get the water, but still retaining what you want out of that. So like that, for example, in the cannabis side of the industry, like the reason people want to freeze dry cannabis is because there's not as much of that potency and taste that is removed versus when you like hang dry it. Okay, so most of the time they are getting that. I don't know too much about the cannabis industry, but this is what I've been told, is that the reason that they freeze dry cannabis is because basically you're drying everything out just like you normally would in like a dry room, those leaves, the marijuana leaves, but in freeze drying, because it kind of freezes it and then it dries it, you actually retain a lot of the potency and the smell or the taste that you're getting from that particular product. So I would assume that's the same kind of with the tobacco leaf, is you would want to do that same thing, experiment. But I don't really know too much about tobacco leaf and whether people are doing that in freeze drying, but it's definitely worth looking at. Hey everyone, we're live at the Waffle House in Joplin, Missouri. Reason I'm here is because I'm going to be traveling to Mount Vernon, Missouri, which is east of here, and we're going to be visiting a freeze drying entrepreneur company called Boreas Freeze Drying. Really excited about this. This is something that I'm really pushing in 2025, is to try to get more connected to the industry so that you can be inspired about what people are doing in this space. I think a lot of times, I know for sure in the industry right here, there's no publication. There's no website, there's no magazine, there's no news site that's talking about freeze drying and what people are doing. You only kind of hear about it from people like myself, or you see it on Facebook. Somebody's like, oh, I never even thought about that, or is everybody starting off with a Harvest Right freeze dryer? Is everyone starting out with a home freeze dryer? How are people selling? How do you find the right avenues? Like, how did you find this product? How did you scale this product? How do you get it into stores? All that type of stuff. That's why I'm doing these types of videos. So I'm going to be talking with a company called Boreas Freeze Drying. You can add a question that you want me to ask them in the chat. And I'm at the Waffle House because I love the Waffle House. It's not in Boise, Idaho, where I live. So whenever I get to travel and there's a Waffle House, then I get to be here. So I'm going to spend about 5 more minutes here live. So if you're just joining and you want to ask, you want to chat with me, feel free to ask me a question. Otherwise, yeah, join me while I drink coffee at the Waffle House, and I'll be doing some more, shorts today once I get to their facility and show you a little bit. Okay. Yeah. If you're moist chewing tobacco, we have. Yeah, Jens, I'm not really sure. There is a Facebook group that's called like the 420 Freeze Drying group. That's a Facebook group that I'm on, and I think they all talk about cannabis. And so if that's something that you're kind of interested in knowing more about, there's an actual Facebook group called 420 Freeze Drying, and I've joined that group. Thank you.
When you're done, we'll have to talk because I'm very curious.
Oh.
Walking back and forth.
Oh, it's okay. I have
Cannabis and dry candy.
Oh.
I already love it.
No, I'm live right now. I have a freeze drying channel, and I freeze dry. No, you're okay. No,
My parents are really into that.
yeah. So I'm visiting there's a company in Mount Vernon that I'm going to go visit for my YouTube channel, and they have these really large commercial freeze dryers that they freeze dry like mushrooms, and then they powderize the mushrooms for supplement reasons. And so I'm gonna go see them, and I do it for this channel, so it's really cool. So I love the Waffle House, and I was like, I'm just gonna go live with the people that follow me and drink some coffee.
Who the fuck doesn't love Waffle House though?
I know it. I don't know.
Everyone loves Waffle House.
Okay, so I have to run away. Dry candy place.
All right. Well, that's going to be my time here on the live side. Thanks for joining me this morning. And if you have any types of questions or anything, feel free to message me or send me an email. Again, all of my contact info, if you want to reach out to me, one, you can always comment on videos. I monitor those. Sometimes I get to them, sometimes I don't. You can also just make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you get notified when future videos and lives go out. And also go to my links in my bio of my channel page. That way you can connect with me via email or through my email list. All right. So we're gonna end the live now. Thanks for joining, and I'll be showing a little bit more about what my visit looks like later today.